Zara Mitchell had 30 seconds before everything fell apart. She stood backstage at the Crestfield Innovation Summit, watching through the curtain gap as 500 investors settled into their seats. Her hands were ice cold. Her portfolio drive was in her pocket. She had rehearsed every word of her presentation 47 times. She was ready. She was not ready for what was coming. "Ms. Mitchell," a sharp voice made her turn. Derek Holt, senior director of acquisitions at Novus Real Estate Group, stood with his arms folded and a smile that never reached his eyes. "Just wanted to wish you luck out there." He glanced down at her outfit, a tailored navy blazer she had saved 3 months to buy, and something flickered across his face. Not admiration, contempt. "You're going to need it." She watched him walk away and told herself it meant nothing. It meant everything. Zara had grown up in Garfield Park, the daughter of a construction foreman named Raymond Mitchell, who believed two things deeply: that hard work was its own reward, and that buildings should tell the truth about the people who made them. She had inherited both convictions. At 31, she had just won the Halcyon National Design Competition with her mixed-income housing concept, a project that could reshape how developers thought about community-centered architecture. The invitation to present at Crestfield had felt like the beginning of everything she had worked for. What she did not know was that 3 weeks earlier, Derek Holt and two of his colleagues, Patricia Wren and Marcus Cole, had looked at her design and felt something cold move through their chests. Not admiration, fear. Zara's model undercut the cost projections on a private deal worth $240 million, a deal they had been building for 4 years, a deal that involved corner cutting they could not afford anyone brilliant enough to expose. They had made a decision. They had made it quietly, methodically, and without mercy. Her presentation files had been accessed and replaced. Fabricated emails, constructed over 2 weeks, had been leaked to 3 journalists suggesting Zara had plagiarized the winning design from a former colleague. Security personnel on Novus's payroll had been positioned near the stage entrance. And none of it had taken very long, because powerful people who want to destroy someone usually find it embarrassingly easy. The MC called her name. The room applauded politely. Zara walked out smiling. She clicked to her first slide. The screen behind her showed something she had never seen before in her life. A dense block of financial data projected in enormous white letters completely unrelated to her housing concept. She blinked, clicked again. Another slide she did not recognize. Murmuring began rippling through the audience. She turned to the side monitor. Wrong file, wrong everything. Her mouth went dry. "Is there a problem?" The MC's voice carried across the room. Something is wrong with my file," she said into the microphone. Her voice came out steady. She did not know how. "This isn't my presentation." Someone in the third row laughed, not a kind laugh. "Actually," Patricia Wren's voice rang out from the audience, crisp and rehearsed, "perhaps this is a good moment to address something. Several colleagues have raised questions about the originality of Ms. Mitchell's award-winning design." She held up a tablet. "We've received documentation suggesting the core concept was borrowed without credit from architect Daniel Priory, who worked alongside Ms. Mitchell at her previous firm." The murmuring became a wave. "That is completely false." Zara's voice cracked on the last word. She hated herself for it. "The emails are time-stamped," Patricia continued, still pleasant, still devastating. "The files speak for themselves." People were pulling out their phones, recording. Zara stood at the center of a 500-person audience that had, in under 2 minutes, turned from a room full of opportunity into a room full of witnesses to her destruction. Her chest felt like something was sitting on it. She thought about her father. She thought about every 16-hour day she had ever worked. She thought about the drive in her pocket with her real files on it, the files no one seemed to be interested in. "I would like to see those emails," a voice from the back of the room. Not loud, not angry, completely unhurried. The kind of voice that rooms stop for. Nathan Beckett stood up. He was not on the program. He was not listed among the speakers or the featured guests. He had slipped into the last row 40 minutes earlier, the way he sometimes did at events connected to his holdings, quietly, without a name tag, wanting to see how things actually ran when no one thought he was watching. Nathan Beckett owned 53% of Crestfield Capital, the parent group behind Novus Real Estate, and he had, 6 weeks ago, personally reviewed every submission to the Halcyon competition because one of his foundations had co-sponsored the prize. He remembered Zara Mitchell's design with unusual clarity. He remembered it because it reminded him of something an old construction foreman had once explained to him about how buildings should feel honest. "I said," he repeated, walking forward between the rows, "I would like to see those emails. On the main screen. Full headers, full metadata." Patricia Wren's composure flickered for the first time. "Mr. Beckett, this isn't really the forum for—" "I own the forum," he said simply. He reached the front of the room and turned to the audiovisual technician. "Pull the security system footage from the backstage server room. Last 72 hours. Then he looked at the stage. "Ms. Mitchell, would you like to plug in your own drive?" Zara stared at him for a full second. "Yes," she said. Her hands were still shaking when she connected it, but her design filled the screen, precise and honest and entirely, unmistakably her own. What followed next took 14 minutes. The security footage showed Derek Holt's assistant accessing the presentation upload system at 11:47 the previous night. The email metadata, pulled and displayed on screen by Crestfield's head of IT, who had been reached by phone and guided through the process live, showed that the timestamps on the fabricated documents had been manually altered using software traceable to a Novus internal server. Marcus Cole stood up and tried to speak 3 separate times. Each time, another piece of evidence appeared on the screen behind him, and the room fell silent again, watching. "I want to be clear about what this room has just witnessed," Nathan said. Standing at the podium, Zara had been humiliated at 9 minutes earlier. 3 senior employees of a company I own conspired to defraud a competition, destroy the reputation of a young architect, and protect a business arrangement that I will now be examining in full. They will be escorted from this building. They will not return." He looked directly at Derek Holt. "You built a trap. The trap is yours now." Derek Holt did not say anything. Security came. The room watched. Nobody laughed this time. Zara was still standing at the side of the stage when Nathan walked over to her. She had not moved. She was not sure her legs would cooperate if she tried. "You held the microphone the whole time," he said. "You didn't put it down." She looked at it. She had forgotten she was holding it. "My father always said if someone tries to take your voice, grip it tighter." Nathan went very still. "Your father," he said slowly, "what was his name?" "Raymond Mitchell. He worked in construction. He passed away 4 years ago." The silence between them changed texture. "I knew a Raymond Mitchell," Nathan said. "In 2003, a construction site in Harlow District, there was a scaffolding collapse. I was a 26-year-old junior developer on that site. I should have died." He stopped, started again. "A foreman pulled 2 people out of that collapse, including me. I never got to thank him properly. He was transferred before I could find him again, and I looked for years." He looked at her. "He had a daughter who wanted to be an architect. He told me that during the 20 minutes he sat with me on the ground waiting for the ambulance. He said she was going to build things that told the truth." Zara pressed her lips together very hard. "She does," she finally said. "If you have been watching this story and something in you recognized what it feels like to work hard and nearly have it taken away, tap that like button right now and subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. This channel exists for people who believe that what is real cannot be destroyed forever." The Crestfield Summit ended 4 hours late. Zara presented her full concept to an audience that had gone entirely quiet, Not the uncomfortable silence of embarrassment, but the focused silence of people genuinely paying attention. When she finished, she answered 11 questions. She answered all of them well. When the room began to clear, a woman who ran a regional housing authority pressed a card into her hand and said only, "Call me Monday." The contract that came 3 weeks later was not the largest in the room that day. But it was the beginning of something real, a mixed-income development in the Harlow district, the same area where her father had once pulled a young man out of the rubble and sat with him on the ground and told him about his daughter. Zara stood on that plot of empty land the morning the contract was signed, looking at the skyline and feeling the specific, earned weight of a moment that almost did not happen. She thought about Derek Holt and Patricia Wren and Marcus Cole, and the confidence with which they had assumed she was small enough to simply erase. She felt no bitterness. What she felt was sharper and more useful than bitterness. She pulled out her sketchbook. She started drawing. Nathan Beckett had told her, the evening after the summit, that her father had said something else that day on the ground in Harlow District. He had said that the buildings he was most proud of were the ones where, no matter how much went wrong during construction, the structure always found a way to stand. Zara understood that now in a way she had not before. She was the structure. The attempt to bring her down had been real. The hands that tried to bury her under false evidence and borrowed shame had been precise and practiced and powerful. But she was still standing on the land where her father once saved a life, about to build something that would outlast every person who had tried to stop her. Some things, when they are true all the way through, simply refuse to fall. If this story moved you, leave a comment below telling me about a time you refused to give up. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind you what people are really capable of. Every like helps this community grow. See you in the next one.